Hey guys, this is Monica with the romoplans, and today I am going to do a flip through of my reading journal up through quarter 3. And I haven't done a video on my reading journal in a long time, so I thought I would give you an update on how it's going for me for the first 3 quarters of the year and what I like, what I don't like. This is the first year I've used like a bullet journal style for my reading journal. I'm using the Archer and Olive. I use the frames square notebook. I really love Archer and Olive, the quality of their notebooks, and I just like not having to worry about if I'm gonna stamp or if I'm gonna use heavy markers, because I'm pretty heavy-handed with the 160 GSM paper. So this first page is just kind of reference of like sizing, and then also my rating guide. And then on this page I have my reading goals. So my first goal was to read 75 books. I've read 105. So definitely doing well with that goal. And then I also had a goal to read 12 nonfiction books. I've only read 5 so far, so probably not going to hit that goal. And then this goal I decided not to track anymore, because the goal was to read or deal with 30% of my TBR, my physical TBR. And that could be reading it or unhauling it. The issue was that in the beginning, I didn't really have a good way of tracking it. And I ended up buying books and different things like that. So when it got to track it for Q3, I didn't really know like where, like how to really calculate that. So I decided to go ahead and just not track that for the rest of the year. And then I have a goal that I want to read more BIPOC and LGBTQ authors. I've never really tracked this, so I just wanted to track it this year to see how many I read. So far I've read 13. So I would like that number to be higher, but this year is about like seeing where I am, so then I can kind of increase that next year. And then this year in pixels for the days read, I'm actually not going to continue. And a lot of this has to do with the fact of the markers that I chose. So I chose the acrylograph markers, they're paint markers, and I don't know if it's a marker situation or it's just a user error. It's probably me, but especially the purple one, I have the hardest time getting the paint to flow out of the marker. And so it's just kind of a battle every time I try to use these markers. And so I just have decided that I'm just gonna let this go for the rest of the year. And then we have my reading stats. And I like this page because I like to see the whole year within 1-2 page spreads. So I can kind of see like my biggest reading month was March, and then September was my lowest reading month here. And just kind of see all of these numbers compared for the year. And then we have the new releases page. In case you're interested, this washi is from JoJo's Pretty Paper Shop. And then all of these clear stickers I just did myself. So this one, I don't really keep up too much with new releases, so I don't use this page an awful lot. But it is nice that if something comes up that I definitely want to remember, if I remember to put it in here, then I have it. And then the series tracker, this, I don't know, I don't really like this. So I'm definitely gonna do this a little bit differently next year. And then we have the nonfiction TBR. So I picked 15 books that I have that I could read for nonfiction. And then I just put the date of when I finished the book. So as you can see, I've only done 5. And then this was my physical TBR bookshelf. This is actually not all of the books that are on my physical TBR. It's all of the fiction books, but I have more nonfiction books. So the issue here is that the paint markers, because they're paint markers and I didn't think about it, they cover up whatever is underneath. And so yeah, and I don't know. So I'm not really continuing with like coloring this in. And the same thing with these 2 pages. I'm not going to continue coloring these in. Like I've shown that I've passed the reading goal. And these, I don't like how I did these by month because I don't like all of the colors grouped together. So if I do a bookshelf next year, I'm definitely going to change like the key so it's more variety than it is here. And then we have the 5-star reads that I've had this year, and then also my monthly favorites. And then we have the 2025 book rankings. So these will be different than my monthly favorites. So at the end of the year, I will take the 12 books that I've rated the highest, and I will, then they will basically battle each other. And then I will create the book ranking for the year. I actually got this idea from Joshi Curran. So I really like this because it gives a more accurate picture of my top 12 books for the year. But I also like comparing it, having this to compare to the monthly favorites. And then we have the book superlatives. I won't do anything with that until the end of the year. And then we just have a list of authors that I want to read more of. And then this is my book club page. So I am part of a book club with some friends of mine that I met through the planner community. And so we have read a book together every month but May. And then this workbook club, so the company that I used to work with, they had a sci-fi fantasy book club that we did. So I didn't read all of these books, but I did like to track all of them. And then there were a couple of months that we didn't read a book. So then we have my challenges. So we have the A to Z challenge. I have 4 letters left. If you have any suggestions of books with these 4 letters, let me know, because I am not sure what I'm going to be reading for this challenge. And then we have the buzzword challenge. I do like this challenge, but I didn't really think about it in May, and I didn't really think about it in August and September. So yeah. And then we have the Taylor Swift challenge. This is a challenge that I kind of created using prompts that I found online, and then prompts that I kind of made up myself. And then also my friends and I kind of got their opinions on what to use as prompts too. So basically what I did was I took, for each album, I did 3 songs, and then I did a prompt, and then I did the song down here. And then I made these stickers for the album covers. And so I really like how these pages turned out. And there's a couple that I probably could go ahead and put something down, like enemies to lovers, and then also this female hero. I probably could go ahead and put a book down for that. But for enemies to lovers, here's my issue with enemies to lovers. A lot of the books that are marketed enemies to lovers is not true enemies to lovers, in my opinion. So I'm kind of waiting to see if I actually read a true enemies to lovers to see. So, but in my opinion, a lot of it that says enemies to lovers, it's not what I think of when I think enemies to lovers. I have heard that the Book of Azrael, I think, is a true enemies to lovers, and I do have the audiobook of that, so I am planning on reading that so I may use that for this. Also, main character named Steven, I didn't realize that was going to be as hard as it was. So if you have any suggestions on this, then let me know, because out of the 108 books that I've read, none of them have had a main character named Steven. So that's where I am here. I do think I'm going to do this next year and add in the Life of a Showgirl and just use different songs for the albums. And then we have the Pop Sugar Challenge. These stickers are from the Sticker Party. And this one, I So when I'm picking the books, I am very much a mood reader. And so when I'm picking books to read, I don't really look at my challenges to see if they meet something in the challenge. It just kind of happens. So I've done some of these, but some of them I'm not sure if I will end up doing. So that's how that challenge is going. And then we go into the monthly pages. Now, the January monthly pages look very different than the rest of the month because this was my first time doing like a bullet journal style, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I did a little visual time read, I did some graphs, some totals, and then I did the pictures of the books and I did the favorite book. All of the stickers that are on the monthly pages, those are coming from the JoJo's Pretty Paper Shop Luxury Advent Calendar because it's one page of stickers and it's the perfect amount to add in stickers to these pages to give it some decoration, but not where it's like so overbearing. So it's just each month I pull out the month stickers and then use those and then match the markers to the stickers. So in January, I'll talk a little bit about the books that I read because I don't have all the review pages done, so we're not going to go through all of those. But I reread Fourth Wing and Iron Flame because of Onyx Storm coming out, and then I started this series by Rebecca Sharp. This is a small town romance series, and she took inspiration for the male main characters from the Men of Criminal Minds. I love Criminal Minds, so I was all for that. And that was such a good series. And then in February, I finished it. This one is the Spencer Reid book. Yeah. If you're a Spencer Reid fan, you should read the series just to get to this book. And then I read some other books. I started the Caraval series. I actually have not read the third one of this yet. And then I started the Bound and Barb series. And I read the first two of the Never King series. So then the second set of pages for the months, I have the graphs, and then I just have these boxes with the number of books, the pages, the hours, the number of genres, how many diverse authors, and then the average rating. And then this page I have the Kindle Unlimited books, the library books, and the books I bought, and then how much I saved with Kindle Unlimited in the library. I don't put the savings on all of them, but I do have them all listed for the rest of the months. So then we go into March. This was my biggest reading month. I read 20 books this month. So I expanded the calendar and I didn't put the names of the books. I like how clean this looks, but I do kind of miss having the names of the books. So this month was the month I read my first dark romance, The Ritual. I also read my first Rena Kent book. And then I reread The Love Hypothesis. And I just did some other books. And then I finished the Bound and Barbed series this month as well. And then these are the graphs and the stats. And then my Kindle Unlimited library and the books that I bought. So then at the end of each quarter, I have this spread. So it shows my favorite book for the quarter, the longest read, the shortest read. Then those same stats, except I add in my Kindle Unlimited savings, my library savings for the quarter. And then I have these graphs. And these stickers are from JoJo's Paper Shop as well. So then for April, we just have the visual time read, and then we have the books that I read. I went through the Royal Elite series. I still have not read the Royal Elite epilogue, and I've been seeing a lot of more of the Legacy of Gods videos on TikTok, and I need to get back into this series because I want to read them through before I get to the Legacy of God series. And her whole like universe is like 30 books. So yeah. Then I read Lights Out, loved it. And then I started this series. And then this book is a great book. It's a mafia book. And then these are the stats. And then just my list of books. And then we have May, and I kind of just changed the way I did this a little bit. And then the books that I read. And so I read Dungeon Crawler Curl, loved it. I need to pick up the series again. And then I finally read The Deal and Love Theoretically. I have had these on my shelves forever. So I actually went on vacation and I took both of these with me. Then these are the graphs and stats and everything for May. So then June we have the visual time read, and then we have the reading log. I started the Kindred Curse saga. I'm currently reading the third book in this series. So this was originally going to be for another like local book club, and then we just have not met. The summer got really busy and everything, so I kind of put off reading the third one. And then I read Caught Up, loved it. And it's very different from Lights Out, but it fits the characters so well. And then I also, this was a follow-up from Marley Valentine to her Without You book. Loved it as well. And then these are just the stats in the list of books. And then for second quarter, my favorite book was Full Measures by Rebecca Yarros. The longest read was Dungeon Crawler Carl, and then the shortest read was With You, and then these are just the stats and the graphs. And these stickers are from Live Love Posh. So then in July, I decided to change up the way I did my visual time read. And I saw Joshi Curran do this in one of her reading journal videos, and I really liked it, so I decided to try it out. So basically, each book gets a letter, and then I color in like the days that we actually read. I really like this because it shows exactly what books, like when I read them. But I don't like how these are kind of like smushed. So... But I have been doing this since July, and I do like it because it does give a more accurate description. Because you can see like the Happy Ever After playlist, it took me a while to read. That was a physical book, so I read physical books a lot slower unless I'm like on vacation or something like that. And then my reading log, I read Fable, loved it. And then Love Wager was my favorite book for that month. And then this is just my stats and everything for July. And then for August, I did the same thing here. And then I just did all of these like as one color and then did the stuff here. So for this one, 9-month Contract, super funny book from Amy Dawes, loved it. And then also loved his Juliet as well. In August, I went to Chicago and I visited a lot of independent bookstores and I bought a lot of books. So I brought a lot of books home with me from my trip. So this is my stats and then my list of books. So I knew that I was going to buy a bunch of books, and August 2nd was my birthday. So I just basically asked for money for my birthday for my family to buy books, and that's what I did. And then we have September. So yeah, you can see, so for like The Wolf King, it was just very sporadic. Like I would read a little bit and then I would take breaks from it, and then I would read a little bit and take breaks from it. So yeah, my favorite book this month was Nocticadia, but this was a really good reading month. I really enjoyed pretty much all of these. So all of these were like 4, 4.5, 5 stars. This one was a 3.5 star. And then this is my stats. September, I also bought a lot of books. So I went to Atlanta to an author signing for Amy Dawes. So I went down there. And again, whenever I travel, I love to go to the independent bookstores because we don't have a ton of independent bookstores, like romance bookstores where I live. So I love to visit them, and I just kind of build that into the budget for the trip. So I came home with a lot of books. And not all of these were bought on my trip. Some of these I bought at like a bargain sale as well. And then these are also ones that I bought. So like Wild Card I had pre-ordered, so that came in as well. So then we have September. And then we have Q3. So my favorite book for Q3 was Nocticadia. Absolutely love this book. So good. And then my longest read was The Brightest Sword. And then my shortest read was Cherry Ice. And then we have just the stats and the graph. And these little stickers, those are from Live Love Posh. So then that's all of like the monthly pages. I do have a review section. I just am really behind in filling these out. So the last one that I did was The Mistake. So I have just a lot more to set up and fill out for this, but this is kind of how I set them up. So I do it like alternating, so it doesn't create as much bulk as if they were kind of, the stickers were stacked on top of one another. So that is my reading journal so far for the year. Let me know down below if you keep a reading journal and how it's going, and what's your favorite book that you've read this year. I hope you liked this video. If you did, go ahead, hit that like button and hit subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any more of my videos. I hope you have a great day.